Hey there, everybody. It's Cassidy Cash. Welcome to the Thursday edition of the Ask Dr. Callahan Facebook Live, where we answer your questions about teaching high school math at home. Today, we are going to tackle a question that we get asked a lot here at Ask Dr. Callahan, and that is the idea of what should my typical day look like when my student is doing math at home? How much homework should they do? How much time should they be spending? And what does grading homework really look like for a high school student? We are going to answer all of those questions on today's Facebook Live with me, Cassidy Cash. I'm so glad that you're here. So let's dive right into what I want to tell you. The very first thing that you're going to do when you start studying your math, so you get your math book out and you're ready to do your math lesson for that day. The first thing you're going to do is read the lesson. And that seems obvious, but a lot of students skip this step, and it's an important one because the book is there to help you. So your first step is to read the lesson. Second step is to watch the DVDs. And you want to try and work the examples along with the DVD, not in too much detail because you're likely seeing this information for the first time. So don't get too caught up in working it along with them. You know, you don't have to hit pause or anything, but you want to follow along and work the examples as appropriate. The third step is you do want to work the example problems that are in the book. You want to try and do them on your own and see if you can get the same answer that the book shows for that lesson. And you want to be able to understand what is being taught. Now notice I'm making a distinction here. The goal when you're working through the examples is not to be able to get them right on your own. Practicing that and getting to that point is what your homework is going to be for. At this point, when you're working through the lessons, your goal is to understand, what are they trying to teach me? What idea are they showing me right now? And do I understand what I'm trying to tackle? That's what you do when you're going through the examples. Then, after you've gone through the examples, you want to approach the homework. And I encourage you very strongly to use the syllabus at this point. For those of you that have looked at any math textbook, there can be hundreds of homework problems in these math textbooks. And I don't want you to think that you have to work all of them, because you do not. So for those of you that are taking Ask Dr. Callahan courses, your syllabus is going to be your best friend. We have gone through there and we have hand-picked problems from those lessons to be a healthy dose of practice with the concept without being too much at once. Now, I want to encourage parents that are listening to this that you can consider your student having done a good job on the math lesson if they do what we've assigned. They do not have to complete every single problem that is in a math book for a given lesson to have learned it properly. That's not necessary at all. What they want to do is get in there and they want to practice the concept. They want to be able to work the problems, and we'll talk more about exactly how to approach homework in just a second, but I want to stress that you follow your syllabus, work the problems that we've assigned, and you will be doing a complete lesson for math when you do that. Now, parents are encouraged to adjust the workload for your students, working more or less in a single day, depending on their learning style. I fully and strongly personally believe that every student learns in their own way, and your academic and education environment should be designed to support them. So parents should feel free to adjust this as their student needs. Next, once you've completed your homework, then you want to use your solutions manual to check your work. And students, pay attention. At this point in high school, students should be checking their own homework. Part of stepping up into a college-level course is learning to self-educate. And while parents are a valuable resource and students should be able to come to their parents for questions, to look stuff up on Google or talk to Ask Dr. Callahan when they have questions, all of that is fine. Getting help is totally fine. But you also want to be teaching your students to take responsibility for their own work. And one way to do that is to have them grade their own homework. They'll use the solutions manual to check their work. They'll grade it right answer only. So it means they look at whether or not they got the answer right or wrong. And if they got it wrong, they mark it off. Even if they got most of it right or they got half of it right. We're not going to say that understanding something halfway is okay to move on, because math builds on itself. And so what you want to do when you're working homework is you don't want to set a standard that it's okay to understand something halfway, because then that means you're only halfway prepared for the next lesson. So as you're going through homework, and one of the reasons we do not assign 100 problems per lesson is because part of what your homework is there to do is to help you fully understand the concepts. So you want to take your time with homework, spend time working it, correcting it, and then learning how to not just rework it correctly, but really take time to understand, hey, if I missed this problem, why did I miss this problem? And you'll notice that this homework does have a lot of steps, from reading the lesson to watching the DVDs, working examples, doing the homework, and then correcting your homework and reworking missed problems. That's 5 or 6 steps that you want to do for each lesson. So what I encourage parents to do is to watch the time. You don't want to spend less than 15 minutes a day on math homework or on your math lesson for that day, but you also don't want to spend more than an hour. We tell our parents and students that come through our courses to set an egg timer, or for my kids, I have a timer on my microwave, and I will turn it on, and it doesn't run the microwave, it just turns on a timer, and you can set it in the kitchen for 1 hour and it'll beep, and it's loud, so everybody in the house knows when math is up, and we don't have to continue sitting there trying to struggle through. So after an hour, you want to, wherever you're at in the lesson, you want to say, okay, I'm done for today. And you get up and you walk away, and that may mean that you have to finish that day's lesson the next day. But in case you needed permission for that to be okay, I am right now here today giving you full and complete supportive and encouraged permission to do one math lesson over more than one day. Because the goal here is to learn the material, not to move through it quickly. Homework is not a checkbox you want to check off and move forward. It's an opportunity. Homework is an opportunity to get your hands in the concepts and to really understand what you're doing and to prepare yourself for moving forward. You're doing yourself and your education a disservice if you go so fast and you treat it as like, I'm just getting done, that you're not prepared for what comes next because you didn't take time to do the lesson correctly. So for those of you that are taking high school math and it takes you more than one day to do one lesson, that's totally fine. And it's more than fine, it's normal. You'll notice on the Ask Dr. Callahan syllabus, I think it's actually syllabi when it's plural, syllabi. When you have multiple, in our courses, we allow an entire week for things like exams, because when you're getting in there, one student may move at one pace and another student may move at another pace. And that's what I mentioned back at the beginning when I said you have to adjust for your students' learning style. Some students will get in there and they're going to blow through this lesson in 30 minutes and they're done. Another student, is going to take them 3 days to do one lesson. And for most of my students that I work with and teach, different lessons have different completion times. It depends on, this lesson was really intuitive. They picked it up very fast. This lesson over here, it took a little more wrestling and they had to spend more than one day on it. And so that's fine. Follow the syllabus. Don't try to do all of the homework problems that are in the book. I will say the extra homework problems that you don't do for homework make a really good place to go and practice for tests. I know students hate me when I say that. They're like, no, I just want to work the chapter review and not do anything else. And I understand, but just for your reference, the extra problems you don't do specifically in homework can be a great place to have extra study material, and I do encourage you to use it that way. Lastly, anything that you're not able to understand, when students are going back through and they're grading their own homework and they're using the solutions manual is great for telling you what the answer was supposed to be, but sometimes the math book, because it was written by math people, sometimes they will skip over steps that students need to see because the student may or may not be that kind of math person. And so the person writing the book may have done a few steps in their head and the student needs to see it on paper. And so the solutions manual might be a little bit confusing. If you get in there and you're grading your own work and you run into a place where you don't understand why the solutions manual got the answer that it got, or maybe you got something similar, but it's a little bit off and you have questions, that's what the Homework Help Service is for. Now, all of Ask Dr. Callahan's math courses from Algebra through Calculus 1, they come included with your purchase is the free Homework Help Service, and we respond to this in 24 hours. So if you get in there and you're following this process for your daily work and you have a question, please, please, please use support@askdrcallahan.com. That is what we are here for, is to help you learn as effectively as we can. So please use that service. I had notes over here, so I'm checking to make sure I told you everything I meant to tell you. Yes, I think I did. Look at that. I was trying to make sure and look at the camera and really connect with you. So hopefully I did cover everything that I did. Yes, I did. So that was all I wanted to tell you. Those are all the steps for what a typical day of a math lesson would look like. Most students work Monday through Friday. I tell my students to take the weekend off and walk away. But you guys structure it and tweak it for you and your students. I hope this helps you as you're going through it, so you know kind of what to do, and definitely that you know you have a resource in us. You can always reach out. We love to help you guys. So that's it. That's our Thursday Facebook Live. Thank you again so much for joining us. I'll see you guys next Thursday. Bye-bye. Oh, I have to hit this button. Now bye. Bye.